Yo! What up, Thrashers? How you doing? Today's an original lesson. Finally, after redoing two, here's a new one for you. But not really new, because everybody tries to teach people to play this song. Everybody's made videos on it. Everybody watches videos on it. But I'm here to throw my hat in the ring and give you my best approximation on this awesome song, Angel of Death by Slayer. So, E-flat tuning. Right hand is going to be chugging like a motherfucker. Let's just get into it. Here it is. Opening riff, the beginning one. Now, I'm going to be going over any of the riff variations for both Carrie and Jeff, but I'm not going to be going over stuff that's repetitive. Like, this main riff, you have Carrie doing a bunch of tremolo picking in the whole riff, and then, Jeff doing the accents where he's like... I mean, you can pick that stuff out on your own. That's easy. I'm going to do stuff that's just, different from each other. All right. Enough deliberating. Open riff. So, you're going to have a bunch of tremolos, and the power chords you're going to be hitting are your open, your first, your second, and then your fifth and your fourth. So you kind of have, this diminished scale kind of thing going on, F diminished or whatever. So with all the tremolo picking and all the put together, you know how it sounds. It sounds like this. And now my best recommendation for somebody trying to learn this riff is to have the tempo and the right hand tremolo already figured out, and by feel while tremolo picking, feel out when you're supposed to be hitting these power chords, because it's very difficult for some people to either be told how many zeros or whatever are before it, or for how many beats. You just have to feel it out. Right? So if this is your tempo, now. Right? And an important detail some people miss is you're doing 2 hits on these chords that you're hitting and pulling them off to the open when you go back to chugging. Watch. So, I'm going to do it slightly slower. Right? You're doing 2 down strokes into a pull off, and that gives your right hand a little bit of a break. And then that little accented bit that I think it's muted, 1, open 1, slide 5-4. Right? Then after enough of that, and then a little choke up, you go into the main riff for, I guess what you consider the verses. That one, right? So that one's easy. Again, have your tremolo picking already sorted out, your tempo already sorted out. Open, first fret on the A, tritone, open, and then a little ornamental pattern, and then they have differential endings. So first off, you have that little bit. And you have to get that kind of repeated. I bet it would be a good idea for you to repeat just this section by itself for practice. So you can feel that kind of tempo, that, 1 and 2, that. And then you have this little ornament, which is just this Phrygian-looking shape imposed on 1, I'm pretty sure. And then back into it. And then here's where the differences are. These are Carrie and Jeff doing these ornamental bits in octaves. So the first one, I think Jeff is doing this. It's going from 3 to 6. Like that. Okay, and then back into it again. And I think Carrie is doing the same thing, an octave lower, from 1 to 4 on the low E. So together, it would have a full octave sound. And then the next ornament, the ending bit now is, what would it be? Right there. So Jeff is going way the hell up on 7 and 8. Right there. And Carrie, by approximation, is going 5 to 6. right? So each of those ornaments at the end fully together. Right? And then there's the little interlude bit where it sounds something like this. Right? Now that one is pretty simple. Again, you have a tremolo pattern, but this time on the first fret. And then you're doing this little idea. So you're just chromatically going up with little pull-offs. And then you're hitting the second fret power chord like that. So, once again. I can't help but smile playing that riff and like grit my teeth and bite my tongue. It's a metal master of a riff. Very simple, but awesome. So they hit that, and then they'll hit the ornamental Angel of Death part. Right, and then... Right, and then they'll stop it, and then you'll go into the most amazing chromatic riff in the history of all of metal culture, ever, forever, always. It's just such a badass riff, and it's harmonized. So I'm going to give you Carrie's version, at least what I think it is. So you have this descending little bit right there. Should be easy for you to follow with your ears and your eyes if you're not deaf and blind. Slower again for those in the back. And then 2 more chugs, and then the little bit. Now I'm torn between the last little bit of it. I switch between multiple different iterations of the ending. I'm going to do this part very slow. Watch very carefully. Here's Carrie's part. That's a weird little bit. So you have this note, tritone, and then that little movement in the D string there. And then you're going to go back here and do a chromatic lineup like that. And now I'm torn between either that little maneuver there or another one of these from there. I think it might be more likely to be the second option. However, I can't say with 100% certainty, so use your own ears and judgment on that one. And Jeff, I think, is harmonizing the exact same way up here, I think. Let me see if I can remember. Right, so he's doing it from the A string note here and the exact same thing that Carrie was doing. Now, I can't tell. It seems sometimes Jeff is doing these notes instead of those. I can hear that occasionally. Because that's definitely the more evil option when harmonized, but I feel like in a scale idea, it makes more sense if it's Phrygian. Right, the flat 2 to the 1. It can be whatever you want it to be, though, because metal's an imperfect art form. But if anybody knows exactly what it is, point and laugh at somebody you see doing it wrong and tell them what the right way is. Because I'm approximating. You know, this is difficult stuff to learn, and I didn't exactly find many good videos of Carrie and Jeff, you know, with people actually looking at their hands early on when they gave a shit about playing it right. Anyway, so that riff happens, it's harmonized, it happens for a while, and then into this new riff for the new section of the song. And then a little tail end, which I'll get into in a minute, that caused me a lot of grief. So, this riff is very simple. You're doing a bunch of opens and then a 1 open. Right there, right? Oh, one more thing. I forgot to mention prior. Before this, right, during the very last one of these, that one, Jeff does do a higher version of that. These are the frets he's hitting, just really quickly. Get out of the way. Right, see that? And 12, 11. All right, cool. Now back to this. So, right, it's right that. Now I see some contention on where you do this part. Some people do it in the A string for like, you know, more of a thin kind of raspy metal sound. I don't think it matters one way or the other, but I feel like Carrie is doing it up there. And that isn't harmonized. That's just the same for both of them. And then after, I think, 4 of those, or 3, and then the end of one of them, there's this little thing, that little kind of, I can't tell exactly the ending of it, but I have a rough approximation for what it is. So I figured out Jeff's version before Carrie's, so I guess we'll do Jeff's first. Starting on this note here on the, what is that, G string. And this weird little pattern. So you're doing back to this fret here, and then go a 4th behind, and a half step behind. That's what I hear. And then back up to the G string for these little tritone bits. I think they actually do them either there or there. I have a hard time telling. Or maybe even, and then a 5th away instead of a tritone. It's very difficult to tell. It's you know, because it's harmonized and the guitar is kind of buried a little bit in the back behind the rhythm behind it. It's very weird. But that's my rough approximation. And Carrie is harmonized in the exact same frets as Jeff, I'm pretty sure, or maybe a half step down. But it's the exact same movement. Nothing is different. So, right, that kind of idea. You have to have the tritone bits happening on, pretty sure the A and the E, if I'm not mistaken. It could be the D and the A. Let me feel it out real quick. It could be the D and the A. I just feel like that adds more like sonic space. But now that I think about it a little more, they do sound more crunched together in the mix. So it could be a D and A for Carrie and a G and D for Jeff for both of these. So back to back, one and the other. And I think that sounds better to me, but it could be fret lower for each of those. But and Carrie might be either here or a fret lower. I'm completely unsure because they love their like chromatic weird harmonies. Anyway, that section's taking too much time. That's done and dusted. Then there's more of this. Right? And then I think Jeff is doing this little bit that happens at the end of one of those. This is this, you know, half step movement here. I like to hit a harmonic there. But you don't have to. There, yeah. All right. Now, lastly, there's the solo riffs, which are something special. Not really, they're just more of the same. So here they go. I'm not going to teach the solos in this video, and probably not ever, because Jesus Christ, I don't want to learn Slayer solos. It's not. I might, if people want it enough. But anyway, the riffs behind the solos sound like this. What is it at? Right. So that's sort of similar to the thing we had going on earlier, but now it's just first fret, second fret, first fret again, and then this little bit. I think it goes on 2. Could be 1, but it's inconsequential. If you listen hard enough, you'll figure that out. I think it's that. So that's for the solo, and then for the Jeff section of the solo, I think they switch to this. That riff we already did before, right? On fret 1 and that thing. And then when it switches back to carry, I think, it's brought up the exact same riff, but it's brought up now to 4. Right? And then it's brought back to 1. And then there's the drum fill, and then it goes back into that, and then the song ends. Not a very complicated song. Again, the only stuff I'm sort of iffy about in it is this little stupid harmony thing that I can't exactly tell what exactly is going on. If it's harmonized in fourths, if it is down these frets or these frets, you know, or whatever it is. That's as close as I was able to get by listening to it on repeat over and over. So do with that what you will. Aside from that, that's it. That's Angel of Death. It's a bastard of a song to play for some people. Once you have tremolo picking down and down picking, you're probably going to be A-okay when you're playing the rhythm of the song. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helped you. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have suggestions for what you want to learn next from me, leave comments. Again, to clarify to those who may be new upon watching this video, I am remaking all of my older videos. My schedule, roughly, is 2 remakes and then 1 original. And I'm thinking of maybe doing another original after this one, just for fun. And if I do, there'll be a little teaser video out for that one that I'm going to make up something special. If not, then it'll be after 2 more redos. Anyway, listen to metal, play metal, be metal, have a pick. It's on the floor. You go pick it up. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.